Alright, guys, we have just seen Xander Zayas become the youngest world champion in the world at 22 years of age, topping Brian Norman Jr. Zayas is now the WBO Super Welterweight Champion of the world after beating Jorge Garcia Perez in a very, very exciting, action packed, and tough, grueling fight for both men. I thought the effort Xander Zayas showed, especially late in that fight, was exceptional. Against someone like Perez, who's notably an output fighter, very active, it was Xander Zayas who looked the much fitter, much better fighter in the later rounds, which typically we would have expected it to be the other way round. Let's start with early in the fight because I think Xander Zayas showed a little bit of his inexperience there. He's only 22. He hasn't been in massive fights. This is the biggest fight of his career. And I think we saw him probably fall into the trap of trying to almost match Perez's style and fight a little bit dirty. Um, and he ate quite a few big, heavy shots. None that sort of wobbled him or put him to the canvas, but shots that you prefer not to take. He then moves probably round 5, round 6 back to sort of fighting his fight. And from then on, Xander Zayas ran the show. Garcia Perez, he had a few little outbursts of output, running towards Zayas, trying to hit him with combinations. And he landed a few, I'll give him that, throughout the rest. But the level of output, Xander Zayas, and it wasn't just the output, it was the percentages that he was landing. Zayas was, I think, threw less but landed at a much, much higher rate. And we're only talking a little bit less. It wasn't close how many were landed, but it was close how many were thrown. Perez throwing more, but Zayas landing more. I will give credit to Jorge Perez. He definitely gave it his all. Towards the end of the fight, I thought Zayas might have been able to close the show. He actually landed a big shot on him close to the end of round 12. But Garcia stayed in there. The scorecards ended 116, 112, 118, 110, 119, 109. I don't think it's anywhere near 119, 109. I think it's definitely in between that 116, 118 sort of area in favor of Zayas. He definitely won the fight. I would find it probably hard to give Perez any rounds from round 8. But Perez definitely earned a few early. But once Zayas settled in and stayed composed and fought his way of fighting, he looked much better. And I think we saw a similar start from Zayas as we saw from Charles Conwell when he fought Perez and lost. Charles Conwell sort of stuck to that brawly sort of fight and lost it, whereas Xander Zayas, he stayed composed, he showed his boxing acumen, and he won that fight very clearly. Now, we also saw on that card Bruce Shushu Carrington. He dominated Heater for 12 rounds. It wasn't even close. The decision was 119, 109 times 2 and 120 to 108, all for Shushu. This was his first 12-round bout, and I think it was a good fight for experience. Now, he becomes WBC Interim Featherweight Champion. After he wins, he points out Rafael Espinoza and calls him out. He's also a top-ranked fighter, so there's definitely a fight to be made there. Espinoza, the WBO champion, and arguably, well, in my opinion, he's the best champion at featherweight. The other champions being Stephen Fulton, Angelo Leo, Nick Ball, and Ray Vargas. Ray Vargas is actually the WBC champion, so for him being WBC interim, it could be Ray Vargas, but Rafael Espinoza being in the same promotional company, that one could be easily made as well. I heard the commentators continuously saying that they were a bit disappointed that Carrington didn't find the stoppage. And I thought that was a bit harsh. I thought he's dominated Heater for 12 rounds. It wasn't even close. Heater showed a great chin, and actually his body held up as well. So I thought that was a bit unfair. I will say one thing. I'm kind of happy that Shushu went 12 rounds. If he had knocked out Heater in the first or second round, the next fight that he has to do 12 rounds for will feel like his first 12-round fight. This time, he now knows how his body feels through a 12-round fight? Can he put more output in? Does he need to reduce it? Can he start quicker? You know what I mean? You wouldn't get that if he knocked his opponent out in 2 rounds. Now, Heater, he came in there and his activity dropped massively from what he'd normally do. I think they said he was averaging like 26 punches a round typically, and in this fight he was at 8. Obviously, he was so terrified of what Carrington was going to send back. But that gave Carrington a different puzzle to solve. Heater stood with his guard up, didn't throw a lot. And Carrington, I think he started the fight predominantly trying to hit at the head. And as it went on, he realized the success he was getting to the body. Probably rounds 3, 4, 5, maybe in 6, he was really body heavy hitting. And then from then on, he was switching it up, combinations, head and body. Every time he was rising his guard, body. Every time he lowered it, head. And he was able to hit him with some very, very, very flush punches. I will say, the punches didn't look like they were groundbreakingly heavy. They were still clean punches, straight to the chin, straight to the face. You know, lots of people might have wobbled after that, but Heater, I will give him credit, he did show a tremendous chin. I said that I would expect Carrington to dominate this fight. I said I'm not sure how Heater will do stepping up from domestically fighting to the world level. Carrington showed that he is a world level fighter. I am a bit worried it might be a bit too early to take on a Rafael Espinoza. If I'm Rafael Espinoza, I'm probably taking that fight because you probably saw enough there today to get it done. But I will say Carrington will learn a lot from this fight, and with a really, really tough opponent, we might see another step up from him. You know, sometimes it takes a counterparter to raise your level. The last fight I'm going to talk about was probably the fight of the night. Emiliano Vargas. He stops Alexander Espinoza with one of the best pull counters you're ever going to see. Honestly, it was perfect. He threw out a few little jabs nowhere near him, enticed Espinoza to throw his jab, bang, hits him right on the chin, drops him, wins. And what made this more special was that pull counter happened 42 seconds into round 1. Emiliano Vargas moves to 15 wins, 13 knockouts. I said in my preview that I thought Emiliano Vargas was going to be just too good for Espinoza, and it turned out he was well and truly too good. It's a bit hard to take anything out of that fight in terms of critiques or, you know, because it was 42 seconds. I mean, Vargas probably didn't throw more than 10 punches. I didn't count them, but it was basically waiting, bang, pull, finished. Great fight. That fight was excellent. I think the Shushu Carrington fight was dominance from Shushu. It wasn't much of a competition, but we got to see some different things from Shushu, and I'm sure he'll take that in. And I really want to see him in with one of these champions. And Xander Zayas, I'm so impressed with this guy. I think there's still a lot to work on. I think we saw a lot of inexperience. Then he did get hit a lot. But I think it's still a learning curve. The guy's 22. I mean, imagine how good this guy's going to be, 28, 29 years old. He's going to be unbelievable. He looks comfortable at this weight. There is plenty of fights to be had at this weight. Obviously, I don't think he'll fight Sebastian Fundora. Fundora's already run from him once. Bakram Motazaliev, even Jerome Boutsenis. I mean, he's now new to this weight. That's probably the worst fight to take, if I'm being honest. I think that's the hardest one. He's new to this division, so he doesn't have any belts. But you could see Jerome Boutsenis coming in and running this division if he really, really wanted to. I thought he was excellent at welterweight. And that fight against Stanionis was unbelievable. The performance Boots put on, so we'll have to see. All right, I haven't actually got to see what happened in the Clarissa Shields fight yet. I'm going to watch the replay now. Obviously, there was 3 events today. I will talk about the Bellotti fight this morning in another video, and I'll talk about Clarissa Shields in another video as well. I just wanted to talk about Xander Zayas because I was so impressed with him, youngest champion in the world. Emiliano Vargas, great knockout for him. And Shushu Carrington's probably going to get a world title shot. Alright, guys, let us know in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe if you are new, and I'm out of here, guys. See yous.